What's up, y'all? It's the HODL. We back in here with another video coming to you live from Mexico. And I had to get here in order to take care of some business. So, and it's been a while. It's been actually 1 year, nearly 1 year since I've been here. And it's around 8 a.m. Mexico City time, which is where I'm back at, or where I'm at in the U.S. is about 10:30 or so right now. So one of the things that I just remembered, from my past times living here was usually people don't get started, out and about, especially on the weekend, until like 9:30, 10. But you do have your dedicated workout trainers, boxers, people who get ready to open up some of the stores early. They're out here. Some of the suppliers, they're out. But for the most, just people riding bikes, working out. I mean, it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe, good break from the U.S. One of the things I would say about the U.S. is that you'll see a lot of police. You'll see a lot of different things, right? Little bizarre things. But here, people know how to conduct themselves with each other for the most part. So you don't really see a lot of policia. No mucho policia. Outside. I forget what outside is. If y'all know what that is, put that in the chat. Anyway, so just chilling at the park right now. Dogs out, people jogging. But I had some thoughts I wanted to share about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. Very pivotal times. But I want to focus on what is more certain than the uncertainty. I figure that my speculation, my pontification I don't think it's too valuable. It's valuable to me. It's valuable to those who are in the know. But for the most, like from the broader audience, it's not that valuable. So I rather share what's certain, what is known, and shed light on that, and let you come up with your own thoughts and ideas on that. So we got Bitcoin spot ETFs. They're actually doing very, very well. You got the institutions that are buying it: BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest. You got Bitcoin spot ETFs open up in Hong Kong. I think maybe one other country, but don't hold me to that. But Bitcoin spot ETFs are doing extremely well. We have Morgan Stanley, who stepped in the ring. They said that they bought big when it came to the spot ETFs. I think they were some of the largest holders of it, and that's phenomenal because they have a lot of money. And, forgive me if I'm moving around a lot. I got a lot of flies and a lot of it's a lot of flies around. Small flies, but I think that's because the dogs, they take shits out here. So Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan Chase, I want to say some of your largest financiers in the world are currently buying spot Bitcoin ETFs, and a part of the reason is that they want that spot price exposure, and with that spot price exposure, you're getting, you have to purchase, and it has to be backed by Bitcoin. Simple as that. It's not like futures. Futures don't have to be backed by the asset itself to just bet against the price. You're just betting, right? It's just horse betting. And so this is something that Bitcoin is thriving in right now. This is the DeFi, the real world DeFi use case of Bitcoin. I spoke about Bitcoin having the real world second layer application in El Salvador as a legal tender, meaning that El Salvador is accepting it for payment to participate in their economy. And that's real world application in itself. I've been there a couple of times. I've tested it, bought coffee. You can do many things there. This is another application layer of Bitcoin, real world DeFi, which is for institutions to be able to get price exposure without actually having to physically hold it, but it still has to be backed. It still has to be bought by the issuer of the product. In my opinion, if you was to compare DeFi of altcoins, their second layer application, it's usually a small pool of of participants on that application, on that specific application, or for that token, in order for it to have that type of use case, or to see a very marginal amount of capital to come into there. That's my grandmother, I have to call her back. Versus real world DeFi application like a Bitcoin, which is actually like real money, like real assets that are coming from these large hedge funds, from these large sovereign wealth nations, and so forth, from other asset classes, from real estate and so forth, like big money. We're talking about real life money, we're not talking about a few thousand crypto bros that are buying a token to try to stake it or yield farm it into an application, right? Not that level of DeFi, and minus the risk that comes with that as well, being in that far reach of the crypto space. So this is why I see it as a no-brainer for people to acquire whatever they can of the asset Bitcoin, because it is real world DeFi application use case, and it's something that you definitely want to look into if you want a piece of that, if you want a piece of all of this fiat Ponzi wealth that's been generated over generations, and Bitcoin is actually going to demonetize a lot of that, and so we're seeing that as it opens up as a legitimate financial instrument, and there's a market for it, we're seeing that it's sucking some of that out, and we're seeing that the banks and everybody is actually putting their capital towards it, and all the while the supply is being squeezed, because like for instance, most recently there was a large withdrawal from Coinbase about a week ago, almost half $500 million of Bitcoin removed off of Coinbase in one shot. We're seeing the halving just cut the block rewards in half, so the amount of selling pressure that miners typically put on the market is cut in half, and Bitcoin wallets are growing because they're collecting more. I think it may be pretty much over with for the regular average everyday person to acquire, I would say, a sufficient amount of Bitcoin, which I would say at least one, maybe even a half of one. And because it's just been so much, I think a lot of people have pretty much turned their nose up at the idea of it. Even here in Mexico, I was trying to orange peel a driver. I don't know, sometimes I get the itch to do that, just to share with them, like, hey, if you heard of Bitcoin? Yeah, he said he heard of Bitcoin, but he never, but he also obviously heard the negative with it, and this is what raises him to be apprehensive of actually getting involved. And I mean, he's speaking in Spanish. I understand about most of what he says. I kind of supplement what communicating to him with Google Translator, but for some I speak a little, and I was trying to explain to him, like, hey man, do the research, understand how your peso, your fiat currency works, but it is almost intentional, in my opinion, that the country of Mexico has kept its citizens complicit, just like in the U.S., or kind of deterred them away from Bitcoin. So it's going to be unfortunate here as, for that reason. But hey, you know what? They live a pretty good quality of life, in my opinion. But for citizens who actually work here day in, day out, it's like they work, and not really actually saving to live a better life in the future. I think Bitcoin is savings technology, and I believe it's a set it and forget it technology. So anyways, I just wanted to kick back and share with y'all, man, give y'all a little bit of views where I'm at. I love a park, I love a good park, so I'm kicking it at the park. Okay, all right, heading on, man. Going to grab something to eat. Actually, I'm cooking myself. I really don't partake in too many tacos and things like that. Try to build a strong, the best gut health I possibly can get, because once you kind of realize the gut, once you realize the gut brain barrier and how important that is, how your gut is just tied to your brain and so forth, then you'll realize that why not try to build the best gut possible? So I try to stay away from too many spicy foods, grains, so forth. And so I'll be going to the organic store here and get my cook on. But anyway, y'all, just taking you around a little bit. I know I'm going past the 10-minute mark, but it always feels good to kind of get away. Even if you don't get out the country, you know, take the time to try to get, get out of your city or your town and get some perspective, get some creativity, get the juices going, and see how that works for you. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Peace.